This is the first video of section 5 on developing the application. In this video, we're going to use all the logic we created earlier to display a matchup to a user. Firstly, we'll add Angular UI Router to our project so we can add routing to our application. Angular UI Router is not the default router since AngularJS also has a core router, which you still need to install separately anyway. Angular UI Router is a state-based routing system, and also a little more flexible than the default AngularJS router. It might be a little much for this project, but it's good to get some practice in with it regardless. Then we'll scaffold the controller and the view for the arena route, in which we'll be fighting our match. In this section we'll also generate our matchup, which we will use in the following sections to fight the actual match. Okay, so to add Angular UI Router to our project, the first thing we need to do is add it to our project using Bower. So, as you might have guessed, we'll go to our terminal and then install Angular UI Router through Bower. Let's load the file in our HTML as well. So, same thing, that's going to come from the Bower components folder. This time it's going to be called Angular UI Router. And then in the release folder, select the right file. Now let's go to our app.js module next and add it to our Angular modules dependencies. The module is called UI.router. We'll also go to our index.html and replace the body content with the UI view directive. This way we can load views using Angular UI Router. Next up, let's create the arena state. We'll go to the config block and inject the state provider and URL router provider dependencies. So this should be URL router provider. First, we'll make sure our application defaults to the root route, which will be the dashboard, which is located at the / path. Now, let's create our state using the state provider service. We'll call the state arena, and also with the same URL, /arena. Pass in the URL of the template that we'll create in just a second, which is scripts partials arena.html. We'll use the controller as syntax with the controller name being arena. Lastly, we're going to pass in the name of the controller we're going to create in just a moment. Now that we've got our state set up, let's go ahead and create a controller in the controllers directory. Let's call it arena.js. We'll create a basic controller with nothing in it yet. So packed module, controller, and the name is arena control. Let's also create an HTML file in the partials directory and call it arena.html. The same name as the template URL we passed into the state just a moment ago. Okay, let's generate the matchup containing the opponent animal and the terrain. Let's go back to our arena controller and pass in the arena and timeout services as dependencies. We're going to use the timeout service to set a small delay when generating the match, and this way we can show some kind of spinner or loading animation while it's generating. This way we're going to give the illusion that we're actually generating the match. Since we use the controller as syntax, we'll follow Angular conventions and create a VM variable that holds the reference to this, meaning the controller. Let's create a timeout of around 2 seconds, after which we're going to generate the matchup and add it to the controller. We're going to use our arena service method here called generate matchup. There we go. And a delay of 2 seconds. Now that we've got our matchup generated in the controller, we're going to show it in the view. Let's create a small loader element that only shows when the matchup doesn't exist yet. So I'm just going to add a div with the class loader and say something like generating matchup, I guess, and only show it if there is no matchup found. Next up, we'll show the matchup when it has been generated. So I'm just going to copy this and then remove the loader class and only show it when it does have arena matchup. For debugging purposes, we'll just render the matchup in a pre-tag to verify that it's been added to the view correctly. We'll just worry about the presentation later. We're also going to add a JSON filter to it so we can format our data, which is going to make it easier for us to view. Make sure we add all the files we need to our index.html as well. So let's add the constants first. So the animals collection and also the terrain collection afterwards. Next up is the animal service and also the terrain service. And then we're going to add the arena service. and finally our controller. Let's move to our application and visit the arena route. Okay, after 2 seconds it generates a matchup and then shows it in the view. In the meanwhile, it shows us the loading element like we wanted it to. Alright, cool. In this section we've added an arena state to our project using Angular UI Router. We've created an arena controller and view, and finally we generated a matchup using our earlier service logic to show it in the view. Next up is creating the animal and terrain card directives so we can present our animals and terrain in a nice reusable way.